we're talking about poverty alleviation, it's hard to argue that any other country has been more successful than China in the last 35 years at alleviating poverty. Since 1978, we've had 500 million people raised out of poverty.
So there's a lot of talk about China pursuing alternative paths and renewables, things like that. But like China is crushing the coal. They now consume more coal than the rest of the world combined. So this should not be a surprise to everyone, but sometimes there's confusion about this. But fossil fuels are really, really, really cheap. And if the world is going to do something about climate change, and I just showed you where all the energy consumption is going to come from, we're effectively going to be, and I'll come back to this, asking the developing world to pay 2 to 3 times if we don't want to have greenhouse gas.
Basically, China's economic growth has really focused on capital-intensive, heavy industry, sectors like steel, petrochemicals, textiles, all of which are hugely polluting and hugely energy intensive. Actually, that fear of relying on energy imports is a big driver for a lot of the changes in the Chinese energy sector that we've seen just in the last 5-10 years. China's invested, as I'm sure you all know, huge amounts in new technologies, wind and solar. 40% of the world's nuclear reactors under construction today are in China. I think the Chinese case raises a lot of interesting questions about, is this a success story or is this a story of failure? Depending on your viewpoint, I think you can really make both cases when you look at the cost of China's development in terms of the environment and carbon emissions. But whatever your conclusion about that, the Chinese model is something that a lot of other countries are following. And China.
Great challenge is how do we create a world in which the poor can attain the development and realize the opportunities and have their basic material needs met in a world that's already overshot the sustainable limits of the finite planet on which we live. That's the defining issue of our age.